hiding behind hay bales. They were planting in the full moon. They had given all they had for something new. Well, I guess Biden's in, Trump's out, because the judges don't think there was any evidence when this was a massive amount of cheating.
We were doing much better than anybody.
A record number
we've ever done, and
of old people, 80 and 90 and up,
we had to just close it down.
registered to vote this year.
Before we did the right thing.
Good news, right? That's pretty cool. Yeah.
What's happened? It should have been stopped.
Now every year,
where it came from, which was China.
Every year or every vote, there's always a certain
they were unable to do it. I think they tried, but
a certain amount, a percentage of, say, a mail-in
so many hundreds
ballots
of thousands of people
that
around the world have been killed.
mail-in ballots that get rejected.
But we're
It's
going
just
to
normal.
build our country
People
back, and
screw up,
build it back fast. This group of people,
especially when you think like,
do it again.
an unbelievable amount of people, like especially the older folks like me, decided to vote and did it. Probably make a mistake, right?
You wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
It's a freaking miracle. Not this year. This year, it's like everybody got it right. There was a batch dump, 10,707 votes for Biden, 13 for Trump. You know what an affidavit is? It's a person swearing that this is true under penalty of perjury. They had over 200. They witnessed voter fraud. That's evidence.
To counter every lie about the election results, tell a truth.
President-elect Joe Biden today heading to his beach house in Rehoboth, Delaware with his family. No public events scheduled, while outgoing President Trump is tweeting furiously not just falsehoods about the election, but literally deranged and debunked conspiracy theories.
Here's the truth, a live look at Georgia, where a full by-hand recount for each county is underway. And look at the transparency provided here by Fulton County so that folks can see it for themselves. That's what we need.
Trump still refusing to acknowledge the plain fact that he has been defeated by President-elect Joe Biden. And
there is this dysfunction underway. I do think this is a perilous moment for democracy because some Trump fans, not all of them, some Trump fans are going deeper down this rabbit hole of voter fraud belief.
Of the votes report from Wayne County. So I have this, I'm mirroring my screen. Forgive me if this is a little bit raw, because I have to zoom in and I'm using an iPad. But look, let's start with this. You see the city of Detroit, right? City of Detroit, the precinct. So what do we have here? Keep in mind you have registered voters at the top there. Here, I'll show you registered voters at the top. Mm-hmm. Then you have cards cast, voters cast, and percent of turnout. So percent of turnout is based on registered voters.
Right.
That's important.
Very.
Right. Knowing the registered voters and the percentage of turnout. That's how you estimate it. So we look in these Detroit precincts, and these are pretty small, like 752. Here you have over 1,000. Here you have 801. Some of these only have 69. But if you look at the turnout rate, it's very low. Right? You have 15% there. Maybe 14% here, 14% here, 15%, 12%. You have some that are as low as 10%. The highest I've seen here is 20%. So this is all Detroit precincts, okay? I want everyone to follow along here. 16%, 24%, 17%, 25%, 17%. Here, let's keep scrolling because it goes on for Detroit precincts for a while. 14%, 13%, 13%. 21% is pretty high there. 16%, 14%, 12%. Okay? These numbers are pretty consistent across the board. 11%. Where if you look at all these Detroit precincts, the voter turnout is between 10 and 20%. There are a few that are a little bit higher, but it's between 10 and 20% the voter turnout,
right,
based on registered voters in these Detroit precincts. Okay? So that's pretty low. And you notice here, by the way, the AV, meaning we're talking about the absentee ballots, that some of these weren't counted. So these are the in-day election turnouts, just to be clear.
Right.
I want to be clear about this because now I'm going to go through the surrounding, not counties, but municipalities in Detroit. Because we, for example, Grosse Pointe, okay? Because now we'll move down the document. Sorry, Grosse. Okay.
It's with an E.
There we go. Yeah, no.
It's a little more pretentious.
Okay, so now we go to Grosse Pointe. We look, oh, wow. We still have registered voters, as you see there. And we have the turnout rate.
Oh.
And we have total turnout rate 84%. 84%, 82, 82, 82, 75 is the lowest we see there, 83. Even if you look at the in-day voting percentage, they're all between 25, most of them between 25 and 30%. Some of them are absentee ballots, but you see a higher voting percentage by quite a significant margin, right? 80% here, 73. Now look, let me do this. I'm going to continue scrolling through here, so because these are all part of Wayne County, and then something's going to surprise you, because we thought we were done with Detroit, right?
Right. All
right. Let's go down to Livonia. Very white. Livonia, we have 79%, 80%, 84% turnout rate, 85% turnout rate. These are crazy turnout rates, by the way. That surprised me in and of itself. So Detroit, we only have, of the precincts, 17, an average between 10 and 20%. And now in all the surrounding suburban areas, hard Trump country, Livonia, Grosse Pointe, I can bring up Canton. Again, this is all available at louderwithcrowder.com. We will make these sources available to you. You see a voter turnout rate of 80, 85%, 75%, which should tell you that that is an absolute blowout for Donald Trump, because these are hard Trump areas. Well, Detroit precincts, right? You saw some that were 60 people. You saw some that were 700 people. The highest that you saw up there were maybe 1,000 something. Not many precincts in the thousands, but these have many thousands of registered voters. And all of a sudden Detroit comes back. But do you notice something? 0 registered voters, NA, as far as percent of vote turnout. 0 registered voters, and by the way, these are much bigger than the precincts before, 2,500 votes, 1,900 votes, 2,100 votes. Some of these are up to like 3,000 votes, 3,400 votes, 3,300 votes, 2,100 votes, 2,300 votes, 2,900 votes, with 0 registered voters and the percent of voter turnout. This, by the way, these numbers here that have 0 registered voters, no data whatsoever that you could match against, let's say if you were doing some kind of canvassing, if you were doing some kind of actual recount, there'd be no...
It was enough evidence. We have this one lady was been a citizen for 40 years. She came to this country, and she went in because, well... I think it was Philadelphia. They made all these phone calls. Of course, they called the Democrats first and said, you got to come in and check this, or something. So she went in to check her signature to make sure her vote was counted. And they said, don't worry about it. Just vote. Here's your ballot. Go ahead and vote. We're not checking signatures. And that is like the vital part of the process to keep it fair.
People want to come back. I think everybody in this room realizes we have.
And then she was the worker there was trying to convince her to vote for Biden.
72 million people voted for Donald Trump. What does that say to you about the state of this country?
Well, what it says is that we are still deeply divided. The power of that alternative worldview that's presented in the media that those voters consume, it carries a lot of weight.
Are you worried about that?
Yes. It's very hard for our democracy to function.
On election night 2016, then President Barack Obama called Donald Trump at about 3 o'clock in the morning to congratulate him, even though Mr. Trump had lost the popular vote and took the Electoral College by less than 1% in 3 states. Today, President Trump declines to accept the verdict of the voters, despite losing by greater margins to President-elect Joe Biden.
You'll never be able to build it again. People want to come back. You see what's going on at state houses.
She said that's the first time that ever happened in 40 years.
I think some people don't want it to come back for political reasons, which is sick.
In Pennsylvania, there was a truck that showed up. The truck, all the workers, the people that were working, thought it was the lunch truck with food. So they all ran up to where the truck was. It was full of ballots. Full of ballots, and they were all for Biden. And then there was another truck in Pennsylvania that pulled up after hours. Thousands of ballots after midnight, after they stopped counting. What? You think it's not true? Do you think all these people lied? These are all witnesses, workers that were there who volunteered. They volunteered.
New York Times, it shows that at 3:42 a.m. on election night, Trump's 51% share of the vote, which he once held, suddenly dropped, while Biden's share of the vote soared by 2%. On the other hand,
they're patriots, people that want an election process that you can trust.
The vote total between Trump and Biden based on the vote shared at the bottom. It shows that at 3:42, Biden suddenly gained 143,379 more votes at 3:37 a.m., while Trump gained only 25,163 votes.
Other factories for totally other purposes.
The ballots that came in empty and they were kind of mudged up or something, the people in charge told the workers to try to figure out who they would have voted for. Who do you think was their intent? That's what they filled in. And the media, no evidence, substantiated claims of fraud. This was a coup d'etat. They won, and they won. The poll watchers weren't allowed to watch, but they're called poll watchers. They watch.
And when I hear that, Sam Donaldson, I think it's an environment that, is so different, so much more poisoned than the years you were covering the Reagan White House, for example, the first Bush White House, the Clinton White House. Former presidents didn't have to deal with this parallel universe problem that Obama and Trump and now Biden will have to deal with.
That's true, and reporters the press didn't have to deal with this universe, which I think was always out there, but always kind of underground, until Donald Trump gave it voice, until Fox gave it voice, Newsmax gave it voice. And if you say, we've got to do better, who's the we? Washington Post? New York Times? There's always room for improvement, no matter where you think you are.
Not this year. Pittsburgh, 15,000 people showed up to vote and was told they already voted. I think that's something I would remember doing. It didn't change anything, even though they complained. One guy took it to court and won. One guy out of 15,000. And then the supervisor said to change the dates on the absentee ballots. And then the postal worker, Richard Hawkins, brave man, came forward and was harassed, not only by the media and people on the outside and his co-workers, harassed by the FBI. They tried to convince him he was wrong. Because the postal worker supervisor told them to change the date of the delivery.
Some Trump fans, not all of them, some Trump fans are going deeper down this rabbit hole of voter fraud belief, of conspiracy theory.
A lot of places, there were way more votes than there was the population. This stuff is all true. All true. What would you call it? What would you call it? When they have 301,048 people in the city, and 691,443 vote. Maybe we ran them through 3 times. People came into Georgia from out of state. How many states did they do that in? Wisconsin, population, 590,157. Votes, 640,758. Detroit, Michigan, population, 672,662. Votes, 850,441. Lansing, Michigan, 118,000, and they had 156,000 votes. Wow. I'm not going to get into Dominion. I'm not going to get into Soros. This stuff here is just basic stuff that any judge in his right mind knows that this is cheating. This is fraud, and this is evidence. All of it is evidence. And you, sir, that judge in Michigan and the judge in Philadelphia, both of you are not patriots. Not at all. How can we trust the system now? You can't. What's the point of voting? They had 220 affidavits. The media is supposed to be journalists. You're supposed to just tell the news, the truth. But you're all liars. I can't even stand listening to you anymore. You're stupid.
Twitter and Facebook, of course, are not censoring. Twitter and Facebook, of course, are not censoring. Twitter and Facebook, of course, are not censoring.
Don't underestimate how much these social apps and the social media influence what you see on TV. Look, when I was growing up, I used to watch Sam on This Week every week. And if I didn't like something that he said, or if I didn't like something that George Will or Cokie Roberts or David Brinkley would say, I'd yell at the TV. Sam wouldn't hear me yelling at him. I'd just yell at the TV. Today, you have a much more direct way of yelling at somebody. You could tweet at them. You can repeatedly tweet at them. And don't underestimate how influential that is to the people that you see on TV.
Especially those guys on CNN. Oh, my God. They look gay and stupid. They failed. You failed the country because you lied. And you're responsible for death. That's right. You want to egg on BLM and Antifa, and you want to give those guys a platform, and then say they're not doing nothing wrong when they shot a kid in the head? That's on you, media. Those poor people, there's 2 Republicans in Michigan. They tried. Monica Palmer, the other guy. They refused to certify, and they were attacked by the media.
At 2-2. The 2 Republicans argued that 70% of Detroit's 134 absentee counting boards were out of balance, and that more ballots had been collected than registered voters. So the Republicans had refused to certify the votes there. Then Democrats openly attacked these 2 Republican members at a local town hall meeting, accusing them of racism and disenfranchising the majority of Detroit's African-American residents and more. Federal Representative Rashida Tlaib, known as one of the Gang of Four, also came out to support the attacks. Tlaib has always been strongly opposed to Trump, so she must have been working very hard at this time. Democrat Abraham Ayesh even exposed the names and schools of Palmer's children in her video. Ayesh said, and I want you to think about what that means to your kids who probably go to, and I won't disclose the name of the school, and when they see all their black classmates, and they know that, what a totally shameful thing to do. I think anyone who has children can relate to the stress of Palmer. Parents would rather be hurt themselves than let their children be hurt. You can see that the Democrats will try to get away with whatever they can, either fairly or by foul means.
Monica Palmer's children were threatened on TV. This is the kind of people they are. First thing they want to do is start prosecuting everybody. The town, even the people, the town hall, people in authority in the town hall was calling them racists simply because the machines were out of balance. And that means that more votes came in than there was registered in that town. It's going to get bad now. They've been calling us racist when we're not. We're Christians. We love all people. We hate lying. Don't you hate lying? Don't you just hate it when the news lies to you? After you know the truth and you can see when they're lying to you, you just don't even want to watch them no more. But now the real racists are in charge. The real racists, like Ilhan Omar. She's a racist.
A member of the Squad, the far-left socialists. She's a racist, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Let me put it this way. She says racist things. I don't want to be like the opposite. I'm not going to call anybody a racist. That was wrong, and I apologize. She says racist things. Let me give you an example of one thing she said. Go.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. And so if fear was the driving force of policies to keep America safe, Americans safe inside of this country, we should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
She says we should monitor white men because white men is what is destroying this country. Heck, I don't know. I get up and look for work every day, go to work, try to make money to live on. That's all I do. When she gets saved from whatever country he brought her from, and now she's got a cush job, then sits up on her high horse and calls everybody white racist. That's about the most racist remark you can make, Miss Omar. She gave her husband $3 million finance campaigns. That's right. And it's legal. How many of them do this? Let's see. So, anyway, if you're looking at all these people that Biden is hiring, it's all the same people that were here. They're all like career diplomats.
Time for an important Hannity watch tonight on the radical socialist Democrats that want to be the next president of the United States of America. So last night, fake news CNN dedicated a whopping 7 long, miserable hours to one topic: climate change. The straws. Even worse, one candidate, get this, proposing using abortion as a control of population in poor countries. This is pretty twisted, ugly, sick, and frankly repulsive. Majesty of God's creation we can't even begin to fathom. Now, when we think about it, can we? Universes within universes within universes. But we should start in the 1970s. Well, we had liberal Democrats, socialists then, a few decades ago, along with some prominent liberal scientists, so-called scholars. They were sounding a desperate alarm about the coming ice age and global cooling. One prominent ecologist stated, quote, "If the present trends continue, the world will be about 4 degrees colder for the global mean temperature in 1990, but 11 degrees colder in the year 2000. This is about twice what it would take to put us into that ice age." And Harvard biologist George Wald claimed, quote, "Civilization will end within 15 or 30 years unless immediate action is taken against the problems facing mankind."
And they've been here before, and this is how they make their money. This is how they do it. They just steal from us. They set up all these fake little things that they say is helping us, but they don't do nothing. And they just take the money. They skim, skim, skim. John Kerry's going to be making good money. He's going to be the climate czar. Climate czar. Save the world. You wonder how much that'll cost. There's 16 trillion, billions to save the planet. How far do you drive to work? We're going to have to tax that. Yeah. What kind of car is it? Kind of older? We're going to have to tax that. Oh, how many white people do you have working in your company? You know, penalize the owner of the company for hiring too many white people. They're going to probably look at like how much garbage you produce, and you get charged for it. Just limit the number of children you have. They want to go into other countries and give like free abortions so they can keep the world population down. But not only that, you know, aborted babies are worth a lot of money. We've already been through this. In the 70s, the planet was bad, the water was bad, the air was bad, and we put in all these restrictions. And we've actually cleaned up the air, cleaned up the water, and we did all this already 50 years ago. Each one is going to need like 5 trillion, 10 trillion, 16, 20 trillion. Yeah, they'll have us in debt like $100 trillion in no time. First year. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Climate change is as bad as Hitler.
Take a look. Time magazine wondering if another ice age is on the way. 1975, Newsweek dedicating a massive report to the, quote, cooling world. Now, of course, there was no ice age in the 90s. Civilization did not end. In fact, the exact opposite happened. Worldwide population boomed, life expectancy increased, the standard of living around the globe, especially here, improved dramatically. That didn't stop the scientific community, or so-called scientific community, just like the so-called media and Democrats, from making wild end-of-days predictions, one after another. The AP, 1989, reporting, quote, a senior UN environmental official says entire nations could be wiped off the face of the earth by the rising sea levels. Oh, we're now on to global warming. Well, we left the ice age. If the global warming trend is not reversed by the year 2000, In 2006, remember Al Gore, lunatic that he is, warning unless drastic measures to reduce greenhouse gases are taken within the next 10 years, the world will reach a point of no return. Well, way past the 10-year mark. For decades, we saw one false dire warning after another over and over and over again. Here's just a small example. I wish I had time. I could run the whole hour of this. Take a look.
The planet has a fever. If your baby has a fever, you go to the doctor.
But this is what would happen to Manhattan. They can measure this precisely, just as the scientists could predict precisely how much water would breach the levees in New Orleans. The area where the World Trade Center Memorial is to be located would be underwater.
Ice caps could melt, raising the level of the seas.
Possible, probable, we really don't know. But if it happens, it means goodbye Miami, goodbye Corpus Christi, goodbye Sacramento, goodbye Boston.
One scientist put the urgency of the greenhouse potential in biblical terms, citing the warning given to Noah in the Old Testament. Noah knew trouble was coming, he said, and he prepared for it.
Yeah, the media mob back then. Now, you saw some footage from Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth, 2007. There was actually a British judge ruling that the film was not suitable for kids in classrooms because of all of its false claims. Now, one such claim involves polar bears. Al Gore implied that the animals were a doomed species. Well, today, polar bears are seeing an explosion.
That's what they said. Something magical happened this year. We got to see 80 million Christians vote for Trump. I think that's amazing. I think it's beautiful. I wasn't for Trump, but the guy was getting attacked from every side. And I felt bad for him, because he was attacked by the CIA, the FBI, everybody. From day one, the very night he went into the office, they started right away. Comey did. Yeah, they got you, Trump, Mr. Trump. They got you. Yep, they got you peeing on some chick over in Russia. And you know who financed that? That was Hillary. Back in the day, like 2006, maybe even earlier, she had a thing called Open Society, out of control people through the internet, using the internet to have riots, but not have a leader or anything. And this was proven in other countries, and she's the one that started it.
Antifa is not a myth. I have been reporting on its activities since 2016. Its threats to my family and me have proved all too real. As any good journalist knows, the most important stories are often those not being told. This story is not being told.
Remember what the Israelites did? They killed they put on their traveling clothes and they killed the innocent lamb the night before they had to wait. They had to wait till the angel of death came through. And they had to wait. But they killed the lamb, and they ate and waited till it was time to go. Well, the lamb's been killed. You need to keep your traveling clothes ready. It might be time to do something like get the heck away from where you're at or whatever. Picked the wrong day to quit smoking. I'm going to dedicate this song. And I don't know if you like this word, the Trumpsters. Oh, you're a Trumpster. Dedicate this song to all of you, everybody, the love that we found as patriots. Whether you're Democrat or Republican or liberal, it doesn't matter. You're American. If you're American, you're my brother. But you are anyway because you're a child of God. That's why most Republicans are Christian and they love you. That's what a lot of you don't understand.
So long, America first. Joe Biden already well on his way toward undoing 4 years of President Trump's accomplishments. Biden's transition team is partying like it's 2008. He's stocking his cabinet with Obama-era relics like career bureaucrat Tony Blinken, who will be Biden's Secretary of State. Oh, and that's not all. John Kerry, he's back. He's going to be the administration's new climate czar.
For fuel. Headed down where the pavement turns to sand. Brings back the time when I was 8 or 9, watching my mama's TV. It was that Great Grand Canyon rescue episode, where the vulture glides descending over asphalt highways, bending through libraries and museums, galaxies and stars, down the windy halls of friendship to the rose clipped by the bullwhip, the motels of lost companions wait with heated pool and air conditioned bars. Me, I'm not stopping there. Got my own road left to hoe. Just another line in the field of time. Those thrashers come and I'm stuck in the sun like a dinosaur in a shrine. Then I'll know the time has come to give what's mine. We'll be all right. God bless you. Hang in there. You'll be all right.